This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
21 questions here on KC Sports Network. What's up, everybody? I'm Kent Swanson. I'm here with my friend, his Dirkness. Dirk, I am just really excited for an opportunity for us to talk, in this kind of settings. Like, I'm really looking forward to doing this with you, man.
Well, we haven't done a podcast since we signed Sammy Watkins, and I think I got all liquored up, and I told you how bad of a signing it was. And I still think I won that debate. So
I was saying, yeah, who won that? I mean, because they some ring, he got a ring out of it. They had a few plays that he kind of needed. It's like the Kadarius Toney argument. Was he worth the draft pick trade?
I mean, they could have won that Super Bowl a lot easier if they spent that money better. It's all.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, I've been listening to Ryan and Dirk for a long time. This is like Ryan and Dirk, the OG Chiefs podcast, Amateur Hour. Like, literally, like, I think you were the first Chiefs podcast ever. So it's pretty dope to just have you here at KCSN, obviously. And so, like, it's just been really fun having you around, and I'm glad we're getting to do this.
I'll try to teach you a few things along the way. I
need it badly. I came on Amateur Hour a couple times. I remember there was this one time, like, I don't know, probably 6-7 years ago. And we did the podcast. It took us like an hour and a half to start the show. We recorded the show. And then Ryan got so existential for like 3 hours straight afterwards. And I was like, I was at Ryan's place till like, I don't know, like, we were there till like midnight at least. And you guys,
that's how you do it. That's how you did back in the day.
I like will always maintain like the best stuff from all of our like discussions is the stuff that never makes it on air. Like, and it's like, just those, 3-hour conversations there, or like pre-show, post-show, like those are the, like, people would probably be privy to that, or would like to be privy to that. And like, it's never going to happen, but like, I don't know. It makes for fun content when it's like, just like a hint less organized and a little bit more chaotic. Probably wouldn't listen well though, but it's fine.
It's the director's cut release.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, this is 21 questions. We're going to answer all the questions that come from the KCSN Discord. How you get access to the KCSN Discord: you subscribe to the KCSN Substack. It's $30 a year, and you get access to all kinds of incredible content from the wonderful Craig Stouts, who is just perfect. Maddie Lane, I write from time to time, and then, Joseph Hefner. We got all kinds of great stuff out there, and one of the perks you get is access to all the stuff that we're writing, the film breakdowns and all that kind of stuff. Ross Sawyer actually asks, when you review game film, how do you choose the games to create a realistic sample of the player? Dirk, we're going to ask you to answer that first. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, no. How do you do your film reviews, Dirk?
Film reviews? I mean, I'll go back and rewatch games sometimes. I like to rewatch like old games and kind of get like an old feel. Like I rewatched Chiefs and Niners from 2022 yesterday.
You live tweet them sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I love doing that. It's always interesting to go back and see just like how much things have changed. Like that was just barely over a year ago, and just like so many things are different between both teams. It was McCaffrey's first game with the 49ers. Purdy came in at the very end of the game for I think it was his first game action. I was like, holy shit, Purdy. He comes in, throws a pick, and it's like, man, that guy's never going to be anything. Like, get him out of here.
A few things have gone well for him since. When I do it, so what I try to do is I try to encapsulate the entirety of what I've watched into the written piece of it, and then highlight the things that I think are valuable, like examples of some of the high end or low end stuff of somebody. So that's kind of how I do it. I just try to like, I want what I write to be pretty all encompassing, but then pick out a few of the highs or lows of something. So like, that's kind of how I've always kind of tried to do that. Ross?
Really, like Tuesday, people post like all 22 clips like all day. Like Nick Jacobs is posting stuff, Ron Kopp, just other guys on Twitter that are just posting all 22. And I'll kind of look at those, and they usually post like the biggest plays. I'll kind of get a feel of what they're talking about, get my own opinion on those.
Yep. Ross also asked, we lost Brant Tillis this offseason to the Panthers. His role has always been a bit mysterious, yet he gets a ton of credit. What do you see as the impact of his loss in the front office?
Well, he's like the money guy, isn't he? He's like the credited with the financials. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be valuable. I mean, who knows if they have someone waiting in the wings behind them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like we've done pretty good on value, other than when like Veach on that first day is just like, I got my guy and I got to go get him. And he kind of overspins sometimes. So like kind of like Jawan Taylor, and going back to like Anthony Hitchens, I think he can kind of go all in a little too much there. But other than that, I mean, it's great value across the board, I feel like at this point.
I think they'll be fine. Obviously, like Brent Tillis gets a lot of credit for like how the Chiefs structured the Mahomes deal and how they've structured some of these other deals. And they all have kind of some set principles. Like they don't seem to be a team that wants to use dead money, right? Or void years, like some of that kind of stuff. So whether or not they carry some of those principles could change things up. But, honestly, I think it'll probably be business as usual. They're probably subscribing to something as an organization that makes sense to them, and they'll find someone to carry it on, would be my guess. But yeah, Brent Tillis, I mean, and also I think Brett Veach is probably, or in that organization, has probably had a plan for losing Brent Tillis for a while, because Brent, he's been in the mix for, various jobs and all that stuff. Like, I think they probably knew at some point they were going to lose him. So I don't know.
Mahomes contract, I mean, there's no, the longest NFL contract I've ever seen other than that one is 7 years, I think. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, kind of his work is already done. Like, the structure of that is just crazy. I've looked at the spot track page on it. I don't understand it at all. But it is huge. And it's comforting knowing that he's here for all those years. Then he accepted those terms. So, yeah. Cheers to him on that. But I think his job's done on that. That's the big one. The big piece of time.
He took care of business, and now, Brett can offer whatever linebacker he wants, however much money he wants. Trent Millsap, outside of the Chiefs, which AFC team are you highest on moving forward, and who could potentially become the biggest obstacle for the Chiefs? This is a good question. I like it.
Who could become? Okay, well, I gotta pull up a page here. I'll say one thing off the bat. It's going to become a lot harder for all of the AFC teams because all their quarterbacks are on like rookie deals. And Mahomes is just starting to. His contract's just starting to hit like the real money. It's like $37 million cap hit this year, and it's supposed to go up to like $57 million next year.
Yeah.
So they can move some of that around probably. But the other guys like Allen and Burrow and Lamar, Herbert, none of their big monies have even hit yet. So these should be like this year and last year were really like the kind of like why you said Chiefs is like a rebuilding year, and this is their year to strike. Like the AFC West went all in, but also these other AFC powers, because their quarterbacks are selling these rookie deals, which is the best contract in the NFL. But now all of those are going to, like in the next year or two, are all going to start to hit. It's going to get so much harder for the Bills and the Ravens and the Bengals. Whereas I feel like the Chiefs have already made preparations. The big one is trading away Tyreek Hill and getting that $30 million off. That's kind of like the trade-off there. But just like they've figured out how to move into that second era with the veteran contract when none of these other top AFC teams have. So picking out a team, let me look at them first, but you go ahead first.
Okay, well, it's a great point. And like, that's kind of where a lot of my thought process was going in on some of it too, is like, you're right. The quarterback contracts are starting to get more expensive. Some of these teams, and it's not that they failed. Like, some of these teams haven't failed. It's just Mahomes is keeping them from achieving what they ultimately want to, right? I mean, the Chiefs I think they've faced 3 different teams in the AFC Championship game the last 3 years. And so, 4 teams last, and so like they've weathered the storm of teams being able to hang with them in rookie contract windows, and none of those teams have anything to show for it. Which is partially why, I mean, I still think it's Josh Allen and the Bills. Like, Josh Allen's really good. I think he's the second best quarterback in football. And, he's been the bridesmaid this whole career, but like, I think he's still going to be the contender. But to your point just now, the Texans. Keep an eye on the Texans too. Like, I think there's some variability with, the Bengals potentially, and some variability with the Ravens. But the Texans might be coming on strong here, because I mean, CJ Stroud is amazing. I love him. Like, he's probably a top 10 quarterback already.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go, because you already know he's at least a good quarterback. We'll see if he becomes really good, or elite or whatever. But kind of saw Herbert really good rookie year, and then he's kind of leveled off since then. So if he continues to take steps and he's on that rookie deal, especially with like the other rookies they got with Tank Dell and just an up and coming coach too, that was the team that I was just looking at this year. Texans, in a couple of years here could be the real power.
Yeah, they could be
wild. It's wild how they can turn. Because we're talking about the Texans should be all in getting a quarterback. They finally get theirs, and it's just so quick how things can turn around. You just get one piece there. And then all of a sudden you talk about they're the new power. They go from like the very bottom of the league now to like one of the next powers, maybe.
I think I said this the other day too. It's like if you think about it from like the Chiefs perspective and like how we're watching and how we've observed the last 6 years, we've watched a bunch of different teams step up and try to beat the Chiefs. And we've watched a bunch of versions. And like the Ravens are on a new cycle. The Ravens were the 1 seed when the Chiefs won the first Super Bowl. And then they had a few down years, and now they're back on the upswing. The way that this team has remained constant through all this is insane. And like we don't really truly appreciate it outside looking in, because every year you walk in, you see how this team should be favored to win the AFC. This team should win the Super Bowl. But like that's really hard to maintain. It just kind of speaks to like Mahomes. It speaks to how, but it doesn't speak to how hard it's supposed to be, because like that's just the truth. It's like the cycle of teams has went through already once now. We're gonna see it again and again and again. But like I don't know, it's wildly impressive to me. Like we gotta appreciate it more than we do.
Yeah, and it also it just feels like almost feels like the Chiefs are like this older veteran team, like the Patriots, kind of like at the end of the run, just like defending their throne, like. Because they've been here so many times and they defend their throne. We have to fight off Cincinnati in the rematch last year. We've played the Bills numerous times. We finally get the Ravens, and it's like, man, can they do it again and again? And it's like this old veteran team, but it's like, no, like Mahomes is just now entering his prime. Like I know Kelsey's older and they might lose Chris Jones, but they still going to keep on moving. Like we love those guys, and those are huge pieces. But this team with the talent up and coming, and this I've kind of got people, I've been pushing all year, like, man, appreciate what Veach has done, what Andy, like the culture that Andy has built, the talent that Veach is bringing in. Like they're going to survive losing these people because of their last couple drafts, and these people are going to become the new veterans. And Mahomes is obviously the piece that's going to keep it moving here, but you cannot underestimate the jobs that Andy and Veach are doing on top of this. It's not just like Mahomes is the best and that's all that's going on here. It's all three of those guys moving forward and just keep adding to what the Chiefs have here.
Look at like the first Super Bowl, and like, look, there's 3 stars that are constants, right? You've got Chris, you've got Travis, you got Mahomes. I think there was only 5 players that were on the first Super Bowl winning team.
One of them probably.
Winchester. Oh, Buck. Okay, so I didn't count the specialist. Sorry, when I did the count, but Allegretti was one of them.
A backup,
I believe. I believe Allegretti was one. Mahomes, Kelsey, maybe Derek Noddy. It's just like I don't know. It's just crazy to me that like I don't know. Like this is a turned over roster in a lot of ways. Like the stars have maintained the same, but like the roster around them has been, largely the same. We're gonna take a.
I was looking at my mug. Sorry, I was looking at my mug here with the roster on it. McCole Hardman, Mike Pinnell was on that first one. Believe it or not, it's always,
okay. Okay, yeah, all right.
They're all like outside auxiliary pieces. It's not like the main characters here.
They weren't in the plans for this version of this team until
God, yeah.
Yeah, they were gone and they signed him. They brought him back. Like McCole got traded for and all that stuff. So like they weren't part of the plans for this year. They just happened to be there. All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be back right after this.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
Thanks to everybody asking questions for 21 Questions. We appreciate you all and your support of KC Sports Network, especially this week, kind of a big one. It's literally our Super Bowl. Oh, it's the real Super Bowl too. Positive and Toasty asks, will Troy Aikman be shaking in his boots when Mahomes has 100% of his Super Bowl titles?
Man, people will really get on Troy Aikman for that tweet.
Love it.
You still hold on to it?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. What was the original tweet? What was he so salty about? Just because like it was like his stats were like creeping up on Troy Aikman's or something.
Yeah, it was basically like Troy was getting hurt because, Mahomes was starting to rack up a bunch of stats, and someone said, and Troy quote tweeted and said, well, someone get back to me when he has 33% of the Super Bowls I have. Well, he does. He has 2/3 of them now. And if he wins this week, he has the exact same amount of Super Bowls. I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes already far beyond the career of a Troy Aikman. It's not even close. Troy won't admit that probably. But I mean,
now come on, he would be like,
I don't know. I think there's some real juice there as far as like just a little bit of maybe doesn't like Mahomes' legacy all that much. That's just me. I'm biased. Just feels like it.
Yeah, you think?
Feels like there's a little juice there.
I think he would have a problem, if he's a level-headed guy. I've never really talked to Troy personally, but if he's a level-headed guy, I'd be like, I don't want to crown him too fast. And so that tweet would have been before winning the first Super Bowl. So it would have been, a while back. And he's like, well, let's just wait a little while to crown this guy. But we've waited a little while, and now it's time to crown this guy. So I don't know. We'll get Troy to comment on it. Where is he on Super Bowl week? Let's get him.
Just next time you listen to a Monday Night Football broadcast with Mahomes, or with Troy and Mahomes on it, just pay it. Just maybe look at it from the perspective of Troy doesn't like him. Just listen, like put those headphones on for size. Just see what you think. Doesn't feel like he ever wants to fawn over him the way everyone else does and should, because Michael Jordan. It's like, I don't know. It's like Bill Laimbeer looking at Michael Jordan and like, yeah, he's all right.
Well, I won 3 in 4 years.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes has never done.
Let's go look at Troy's stats from those games.
Look at any quarterback stats from the 90s. They're just like, what is it? Like Jim Kelly's stats? Like, you threw 24 interceptions in a season? What is that?
What is it you do here? Like, what are you? Grayson Jaspers, a.k.a. Craig is great, which Craig is great. This is kind of a Super Bowl prediction. Will Brock Purdy ever win a Super Bowl? Dirk?
Brock Purdy ever win a Super Bowl? I'm going to go with no, I guess. I'll go with no, because I'm not going to pick him to win this one. And getting back to a Super Bowl is very tough. So, yeah.
I think the answer is no, because I'm picking the Chiefs. Like, come on. I think it's a more fair question than people are asking, because I do think the Niners have been a very consistent football team, and they've been good with him at quarterback. And I don't think that's going away anytime soon. That's a well-built roster. That's a really good football coach. So, I think Brock Purdy might get another bite of the apple, but I think the Chiefs are always going to do what they do to Lamar, or what they did to Lamar, and just kind of pull the football away, and Charlie Brown goes flying trying to kick the field goal. So I don't think he ever will, but I think it's a more fair question than people want to ask, because I think the Niners are going to be in it for a while. So yeah, I don't know. That's my thought.
I mean, really, the Chiefs are close to playing the 49ers in all 3 Super Bowls. I mean, if Brock Purdy stays healthy last year, I don't know if they're going to win that game.
Yeah.
But they're still in the conference championship. They're very close to playing San Francisco in all 3 Super Bowls.
Was it?
There was some stat about a quarterback making the Super Bowl and losing his first one and then never coming back.
Never winning one, I don't think.
It was losing his first and then never winning one or something like that.
Maybe it's never coming back. I don't know. I thought it was just never winning.
There was some stat that floated around. It was the last 10 quarterbacks to lose their first Super Bowl never won one or never came back, or some weird stat like that.
We really needed the Rams to beat the Patriots, is what you're telling me, back in 2000, is what I'm hearing. But whatever. Another question. Who will lead the Chiefs in yardage, not named Kelsey or Rice, in the Super Bowl? We're going to go with receiving yards, because I think Pacheco's the right answer, and I'm not giving you.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah. No, we're going to go with receiving yards. I have my answer.
Yards, not named. All right, you go first, I guess.
I think it's going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I think he's going to hit a couple big plays. I think playoff MVS is the thing. He's confident. He's riding high. He's playing well. He's played well the last 2 playoffs. I think he's going to have a really good game. I think he's going to hit an explosive or two, and he's going to be I genuinely, he might he might out-receive one of these two. This is just a gut feel. Like, there's not a ton of great reasons, but I think he might even out-receive Kelsey and Rice. One of them.
Out-receive.
That's like...
Well, he went off for like 111 yards, I want to say, in that game last year. He was giving Charvarius Ward some fits. They did like a back shoulder to him in that game. They got the one most people remember, I think, where he kind of hesitates at the first down line and then beats him.
Oh, yeah.
Was expecting some safety help, but he had like 3 catches for like 111 yards, I want to say, in that game. So that's a pretty good pick.
Ooh.
Receiving, I'm going to go with a little off the board here. Damn, McKinnon's coming back. All right, I'll also go with him. I'll go with Isaiah Pacheco.
As a receiver.
The screen game going.
Okay.
I'll say he pops a screen. And I also just want to give a shout out to that. I think it was the first offensive play in last week's game when he lines up a receiver, runs like a crisp little comeback route, comes back to the ball, snatches it with his hands, looked extremely natural doing it. And I was just like,
okay.
My brother's next to me and he goes, I thought that was Tyreek Hill for a second. And I was like, I kind of thought it was Rashid Rice because I saw like the hair. And then we were both kind of like, holy shit, it was Pacheco that just made that move. Like it was a very clean looking move. Also, I think there's yardage to be had like in the screen game in this one. They really took advantage of Nick Bosa in the last game, although, the 49ers probably going to be more ready for it this time, but they're really attacking him with jet sweeps, screens coming right over him and stuff like that. I would be more confident in this answer if McKinnon wasn't coming back, just because Pacheco, I kind of going to lose some receiving work to him. But, I'll go a little off the board there, a little underdog on this pick. I'll go Pacheco next.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm going to check the overs on DK on DraftKings Sportsbook. We'll get to them in a second. Who is the best value as a Super Bowl MVP bet to you? Like, is there any good values that you like, or is it just, what do you think?
Yeah, so I was looking at Chris Jones big time. So I've been watching like FS1 and they got the little scroll down there going on, and he's 140 to 1 is what they had it at. I've checked my apps that I bet on, and he was like 70 or 75 to 1, which I don't like nearly as much. Obviously, that's half the value. But Chris Jones, the San Francisco interior offensive line isn't good. Chris Jones has name recognition. He could easily get like a couple sacks, maybe a forced fumble in the fourth quarter or something. It's a defensive team now, and I think people have come around and kind of realized that, so they'll be quicker to be like, if this is like a 20-17 game back in the day, it would be like, well, Mahomes is the best, just kind of give it to him. But now people kind of look at the Chiefs like, well, they're kind of led by their defense, like maybe we should give this to a defender. And so if the biggest name on defense, Chris Jones, comes up with a few big plays, maybe they'd be more apt to give him an MVP. Also, Mahomes already has 2 in his bag. And I think that kind of skews voters towards like, maybe we can look for someone else to win MVP in this one. Maybe if like the exact 49ers game happened like now, maybe they'd be more likely to give it to Damian Williams instead of just like a default MVP to Patrick Mahomes. So I think Damian maybe had a better game, but they're just like, everyone's so excited about Mahomes at that point. Like, just give it to him. Like he's the guy, give it to him. So I think they might be more likely to come off of Mahomes in this one. And I look at a big underdog like that on defense, biggest name there, Chris Jones.
All right, so I'll get to that in a second. Chiefs are plus 105 to win the sporting event. They are, and Patrick Mahomes is plus 125 to win Super Bowl MVP. So the difference between just betting the Chiefs to win the game and betting Patrick Mahomes to be the Super Bowl MVP, really not a great spread there, right?
No.
On DraftKings, Chris Jones is plus 1,000, plus 10,000.
Yeah.
So, you're getting 101 odds on Chris Jones to win the MVP of this game.
I like it.
I think that's a pretty good value when you kind of bake into the fact that the Chiefs just flat out winning is, not much different than Patrick Mahomes winning the MVP on DraftKings Sportsbook. If you're looking for a super offer for Super Bowl 58, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. New customers can bet instantly on the big game and turn $5 into $200 instantly in bonus bets. So, hey, you can throw a little bit of money on Chris Jones to be the Super Bowl MVP plus 10,000. That's really good odds. I like that one. I think that's a really fun one. So I kind of like that. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 58. With code KCSN, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit in West Virginia. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY as 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
We appreciate you supporting KC Sports Network by listening to our podcast. You have helped us become the highest-ranked Chiefs podcast network in 2022 and 2023. And don't forget about our daily Substack newsletter, the best written analysis you can find on the Chiefs straight to your inbox every day. kcsn.substack.com.
All right, Lee87 asks, how excited are you about the Bobby Witt Jr. extension and the impact on the stadium vote debate? Do you have any Bobby Witt Jr. takes? Are you hyped or I want to know.
Fanning myself. Bobby Witt Jr. A longer contract than Patrick Mahomes. No, I've never watched him play a game. I don't know.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I'll carry this. I'm beyond excited. I love that the Royals are showing a commitment to Bobby Witt Jr. and showing a commitment to potentially the best player to walk through here since George Brett. He is that kind of generational guy. I think he's one of the 11th biggest contracts in baseball now.
Wait, you think he's better than anyone on the World Series team? Anyone in any individual player? I know there's a bunch of different guys.
Yes.
Better than one player. I don't know who had the best career of all of them on the World Series team. Hosmer?
Lorenzo Cain probably had the best career of all those guys. They peaked at the right time as a group. They were very good players, but I don't think any of them Lorenzo Cain's the closest probably, but Bobby Witt Jr. I think he's got MVP caliber ability and I love it. I'm so excited that they're just prioritizing keeping one guy like him, and I do think it'll go well over for the stadium and trying to get all that stuff pushed across the board. So I'm really excited about that.
Did he take below market value? Do you think?
No, because he still had arbitration, to deal with. He still had basically. How I explain this? He's basically on his rookie contract. Is really how it works. So there's a your numbers, your ability to make money is kind of restricted from that. So you can buy out. You pay him early. You pay him a little bit more money now than he would have gotten if he went through arbitration processes and all that stuff. Kind of
like the Jamal Charles deal. They paid him earlier than they had to, but they got good value because of that.
Yeah.
Brant Tillis, probably.
Yeah, Brant. Because there's a big salary cap in baseball too. So
they're on the Royals, that's for sure. Maybe not anymore.
B Higgs asks, what non-Mahomes player do the Chiefs need most to play their best game? Is it your DK MVP odds right there?
What? So we're saying the question again. What player do they need?
What non-Mahomes player? What non-Mahomes player do the Chiefs need most to play their best game?
If you got an answer, go ahead. Let me look here.
I like Chris. I think to all the stuff you talked about, I think Chris playing his best game could really disrupt that game. If you kind of remember how well he played late in that game when things got started tilting in the Chiefs' favor, Chris was a big piece of that, kind of making some plays and disrupting that game. So I think if he has a really big game and he's just a problem for them in the middle of that defense, I think that goes a long way in this team being able to wreck it. And just, Travis Kelce's best game wouldn't suck either, because he's had a 3 touchdown playoff game. I don't know. I can take that too.
I'm going to go on defense. I'm going to look at, I'll say Nick Bolton. It's kind of back and forth, Bolton and Tranquil. But just everything that they do, trying to attack the linebackers, with the zone runs and then the bootlegs off of that. Everything's just kind of fooling the linebackers, going one way, then coming back the other way. So them having just like their head on their shoulders and, being ahead of what they're doing instead of, if the run game gets going and then they're overreacting to that, and now all of a sudden the play action bootleg is working off that becomes an extremely tough offense to stop. So I kind of look at the linebackers first and foremost to put it up, and I think that's kind of, so I guess I wouldn't say the strength of the defense. Man, I love the combo of Bolton and Tranquil. I've been asking for it all season. It sucked that it took like a Willie Gay injury to make it kind of a full-time thing. And so I don't even know if that will be the full-time thing in this game. But I just love those two next to each other. And I think we can really battle what they're doing if those two are in their game. And Nick Bolton kind of just like being such an intellectual, heady player, like kind of figuring out what the offense is doing, which is something, really Craig put on my radar. And then the franchise kind of keyed on that either this week or last week, and they're kind of talked that up as a storyline. So that was really cool to see him just dissecting offenses like that and figuring things out. It was really cool to see. And so I'll look at Nick Bolton as the one to kind of, be in charge and captain this defense to everything that the 49ers, all the problems that they give you over the middle of the field.
Well, speaking of those problems and speaking of the linebackers, Steve Gray asks, what would be your plan to slow down Christian McCaffrey?
See, I mean, it's kind of interesting because I feel like last week they sold out and they're like, we're going to stop this run. I think they went heavy in the box and, they had everyone kind of keyed on it. Like, we're going to stop this running game first and foremost. So I guess the kind of question is, can they afford to do that this week? I think the 49ers have better options outside. Also, Christian McCaffrey's a lot better. So even if they do stack the box, McCaffrey might still be able to find some room. And, one problem, if you do stack the box like that and you're attacking like that, they can pop one off you because they can get past your second level easier and you can break a long run. So I think it'll be kind of interesting to see how much they sell out to stop the run. I think that's kind of like my big question in terms of X's and O's, how to stop them. They could do the five man front. I've been learning about that and how it stops the zone running scheme.
Yeah.
Promising. I think Leo Chenal is like perfectly made for that. I would love to see him get some pass rushing snaps with Ominahu out and them needing like a little extra juice up front.
Yeah.
Looking for it mostly early in the season, but like he looks great as a pass rusher. Tranquil showed a lot as a pass rusher too. Like, but in terms of, stopping McCaffrey, he's their top dog. I mean, Purdy and him are both in the MVP case, but McCaffrey is a legit problem. Like he can win the Super Bowl for the 49ers. So in terms of stopping him, have everybody going for him.
Yeah. And like, it's not just the run game with him. Like, he's a dynamic pass catcher. Like, he's one of the better, he's got the best Texas route in football, from the running back room. So it's all encompassing. Matty has been talking about the 5-man surface was kind of what you're talking about, throwing Leo Chenal in there. And it's, a late add into a 5-man surface with some run blitzes and stuff and really presenting some of that kind of stuff. Like, I think it's mixing and matching. I think it's, I think there's some devotion to the run. Like, I think the Chiefs tried to let Jalen Hurts beat him, and he almost did last year. And I think it's going to be a similar conversation. Like, let Brock Purdy beat you and tip your hat if Brock Purdy outduels Patrick Mahomes. Like, so just do what you can to kill the engine, and the engine still is that run game and everything built off of that run game. And you've got to affect Brock Purdy, and you've got to stop Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, I think that's.
I mean, the question. I mean, that's kind of everything. That's a good call going back to the Eagles last year. I think the defense wasn't quite on the level they are this year, so the Eagles were able to score like that. I'm not sure if the Chiefs can score like, what was it, 38 points in last year's game. I'm not sure if the offense has that capabilities. But obviously the defense is better this year. And we saw last week they committed and Lamar wasn't, make Lamar beat you with his arm, and he wasn't able to do it. So if they can do that again and make Purdy beat with his arm and he can't, I mean, the Chiefs are going to win this game, plain and simple. But I think the 49ers do provide more challenges with more skilled players on the outside that can win, and McCaffrey being better and being able to beat, even when you're keying out stopping McCaffrey, still being good enough to get yardage.
Oh, yeah, George Kittle's also decent.
Right here. Good blocker.
Good blocker. Bones Jackson, are we all enjoying the 49ers' excuses a week before the game from complaints about holding to crying about their practice field?
Enjoying it? No. I'm not enjoying it. Every day, something new. Like,
yeah.
like a nagging wife, like, well, now this is wrong. Now this is the problem. Like, well, fucking deal with it. I don't know. Right. I mean, field does suck. So maybe I don't understand how the field can be such a problem in these Super Bowls when it doesn't seem like it's like a problem most of the season. How can we have like the worst fields of the season in the Super Bowl? I know this is just their practice field or whatever, but the whole thing was really weird, especially like the owner saying it. I can't imagine like Clark Hunt coming out and being like, well, they called that week roughing the passer on Tom Brady in the 2018 AFC Championship.
Well, it's because he's got rings. That's because Jed York doesn't have no rings. Neither does Nick Bosa or Joey Bosa or any Bosa. I don't know. Derek asks, last time around against the Niners, Reid killed their defense on jet sweeps with McColl, like you were talking about. Are you confident in McColl being able to run those plays, or do they go somewhere else? So I don't know if they're going to use that stuff as much. And if they do, I don't think it's going to be McColl. I could see them maybe trying to utilize Rashee Rice a little bit in that role. He's not the same linear speed, and like it's a little bit dicier trying to handle that. But I mean, he's a guy you want carrying the football in those kind of situations. So it's something that they could try to get. They could try to utilize if they're going to try to use the jet sweeps a little bit.
Why don't you think they'll use it? Because like strategically, or because they don't trust any of the guys to do it?
So I think so I spent a lot of time during the playoffs as someone. I've never been like a big McColl guy, but I said like you got to keep going back to McColl. You got to keep giving him some shots, right? And then they didn't because he fumbled at the goal line. And then MVS came in and stepped in and made some big plays. I think they phased McColl out because they could no longer trust him. And once they showed a reason to not trust him in the most critical moments, they've kind of weaned it off even further. So I don't think they're going to go back to the well. It might be a nice change of pace, to utilize that this week. But it's kind of interesting that McColl really didn't get used, last week.
One snap in the game.
They got rid of it. They're like, nope, we're done. They're just like there's zero tolerance right now for mistakes. And so they're just slowly eliminating mistakes. So I just don't think they're going to do it with McColl.
What do you think they have a chance of doing with Tony? I mean, what if the inactives come out and McColl is inactive and Tony is active?
No,
do you think
I don't see them doing that. I just think the way that this team has won is they've eliminated mistakes. And sometimes that means eliminating people from touching the football, like point blank. And like, that's why they've had success. Like, I have a hard time believing that they're just going to, all right, this is the McColl game. We're going to get him on 3 jet sweeps this week, and we're going to, put Nick Bosa in hell, and he's not going to, I just have a hard time believing that's what they're going to do. The formula's been to get rid of things rather than add things back in, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. The counter to that would just be because it was so effective last time. It worked really well, and I think it probably slowed Bosa down and made him think a little bit more about every single snap. So I could kind of see them wanting to do it, but the 49ers will also be way more ready for it this time.
Mm-hmm.
They're drilling that into Nick Bosa at this point. Like, be ready for these types of things. This is how they attacked you last time. So is it like, do you want to go to that well again when maybe they're sitting on it and ready for it? Do you want to maybe go fake off that little jet sweep and do a little something off of that?
And it wasn't just jets that they used with, like, they threw the book at him.
Oh yeah,
it was jets. They're gonna run a sniffer at him. They're gonna run screens. They're gonna block him straight up. They're gonna chip him. They literally threw every scenario they possibly could at him. And so
he was using his aggressiveness against them every single time, because they picked up a huge 3rd and 20 late in that game because it's a screen right behind him and he just comes way too aggressively of Mahomes, and then McKinnon just sitting right behind him, and he did he score? I can't remember if he scored or not, but he picks up the 3rd and 20. I think he gets inside the 5 and they go to McColl again. But it's a good question, but it does seem like McColl has just like lost the trust, and it's like they had 3 guys that could all fill this role. They had McColl and Kadarius and Sky Moore, and now all 3 of them aren't even options anymore.
Yep.
Like what a wild season that we had too many of these guys.
Well,
and now we can't trust or don't have any of them left.
It's not a conversation for today, but it is so funny to me how removed we are from the version of the Chiefs that we thought we were going to see at the beginning of the year. Kadarius Toney might be wide receiver 1. The Chiefs really like Sky Moore's progress. They really think They don't even play. They traded for McCole Hardman and brought him back. It's like this version of this team is just like far removed from what the Chiefs thought it was going to be. Now, credit for them adapting and credit Mahomes for Mahomesing all over this team still. But
but them trading for McCole kind of shows you how important they think that aspect is.
Yes.
Like, because they were like, okay, Sky Moore is kind of struggling here. Kadarius probably not going to be healthy like all season. We can't trust him in any way. So like, let's get McCole in here and, give us another guy that can do these types of things. Like, because it just shows how important they think it is. Like, we'll give up these draft picks because we really need this part of the offense to work. And they've really just gotten to a point where, I mean, even McCole now, it's just like his I guess it's just ball security now, but
yeah,
none of these guys they can trust to run this part of their offense.
Well, it's not just horizontal stretch. Like they saw the struggles with MVS down the field, and then they saw the horizontal stuff not working, or maybe they don't trust the guys that they're trying to stretch horizontally with, and that's when they bring in McCole. So like he definitely served a purpose. They definitely needed what he brought, and is I think he kind of wished that they panned out a little differently. Cheddar Bob, with the Chiefs becoming their own brand and cash cow for the NFL, do you foresee the league ever making them change their name? Interesting.
I assume the day is coming where they move towards that. I will not enjoy that day. Did they ever do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we're kind of past that. Maybe are we past? Because we haven't had it was kind of like a phase of like 3 or 4 years. They had a bunch of teams change their names, and it was the derogatory names one. Like Chief is not a derogatory term, so it's not really in the same vein. Does it maybe cycle back to that, or maybe we just like got that out of our system and got rid of the egregious ones?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the it's going to be the NFL's decision though. Like ultimately, I don't think it will be skewed by the NFL corporately, right? Like I think the decision would come from different avenues and different reasonings and all that stuff than beyond like the NFL like stepping in and protecting that name or vice versa, right? So Joel Penfield asked, what's going to be the name of the iconic play we will always remember from this Super Bowl? We've got 65 toss power trap, we got wasp, we got corn dog. You could literally throw out any name or any phrase whatsoever you really want to right now.
It's got cheeseburger in there somewhere, like cheeseburger in paradise or something, because Andy is obsessed with cheeseburgers, so maybe something more along those lines.
I want, and see, like my whole thing is like, there's no chance we could pare that down, right? But tell me what's the play? Is it a short run play? Is it a goal line run play? Is it a pass play? Is it a deep shot? Is it a goal line pass play? Like, what is it?
Cheeseburger in paradise does make you think like big guy in paradise in the end zone, maybe like a big guy touchdown. Like, man, I wish Tooney was playing, so like Allegretti could be like the 6th offensive lineman and maybe go to Allegretti. That seems like a cheeseburger in paradise kind of play. I don't know who our 6th offensive lineman would be at this point. It would probably be Wanye. Yeah. So maybe something like that.
Okay. All right. We're cooking now. All right. We're going to go. Here's the play call. Okay. Because Wanye Morris was a member of Boys to Men, right?
What?
Wanye Morris, was a member of Boys to Men, right? Yes, he was.
Okay.
He's a member of. Okay.
He's a member of in the group.
There is a member of Boys to Men named Wanye Morris.
Oh, okay. I was completely unaware of that. All right, I'm catching up.
So here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a goal line run play. Okay, and it's gonna be Boys to Men right.
Boys to Men right.
Yeah. Halfback, dive or something like that. Whatever. Zone, whatever. But it's Wanye Morris off the line of scrimmage, motioning and being the sniffer in the run play like Noah Gray is, kicking out Joey Bosa and running like a duo or something, or inside zone or something behind it.
Joey Bosa?
Nick Bosa. Joey Bosa from the rafters coming in. That's Joey Bosa's music.
If Joey Bosa's in the stands, I wouldn't mind going up and putting a body on him, like just.
But we're going Boys to Men right is the formation, and it's because Wanye is lining up off the line of scrimmage and going in motion and like kicking out a block that leads to a touchdown is what we're gonna call it. So that's my stab at it.
We had the weird play. I'm trying to think of like trick plays that they've done because they did the like
Rose Bowl right play. They've done
the one against the Eagles that the safety like figured out. Remember, like because we had was that at the offset line?
Pokemon. There's the Pokemon gotta catch them all.
Okay, and it was a lineman going out, wasn't it? Wasn't that the
It
play?
was Wiley eligible rolling out. Yes. And they did the little and then I mean they've thrown something out every year. I don't remember. I'll tell you what. I tried to watch the Bucks Super Bowl for the first time ever. A few days ago, and it lasted like 5 minutes.
Oh, come on, kid. That'll put some hair in your chest.
I couldn't do it, man.
Take those losses.
It was too painful. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. But yeah, I don't remember any trick plays in that game. They're also getting the brakes beat off of them. So
that would have been down 31-9 running a trick play could have been a little off. But last year, the one play that the Eagles defense could stop was like this crazy trick play that they dropped, and the random safety is like Epps, I want to say was the safety or one of those dudes, but he just like points it out before the play. He's like,
they're like
eligible, and he's just all over it. It was like the one play that they stopped.
Yeah. Finch again. After we win Sunday, this is the official beginning of the Mahomes dynasty, right?
The beginning. I think it's the early middle of it.
I mean, I think it's. Can we call this team a dynasty? Do you need 3? Is 4 Super Bowl appearances, 6 straight AFC Championship games? I mean,
I believe it is. Yes. I mean, I'd have to go back and see what you're calling dynasties. I mean, otherwise it's just like Patriots, Cowboys, and Steelers in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, are there other dynasties that even exist? Like 49ers in the 80s was kind of spread out over, 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
I would be comfortable calling it a dynasty even with a loss, but I also think the success is going to continue. Like, it's not going to just be like, this is the end of the tour. Like, we're just as likely to be back in the championship or Super Bowl next year. So.
You ready for this? I think the Chiefs are going to be real good next year. I think
Bold prediction.
Yeah, no, like I think they're going to go like 15-2 or something stupid like that next year. Like I think next year's team will be better than this team. So if they win a Super Bowl this year, chills, because I think they might three-peat. Like next year might be the best team that it might be. I don't know. We'll see. Replacing Chris's ability is going to be the big piece, but they're scary next year. They're scary next year.
There's interesting parallels between like the 2006 Patriots when like they didn't have any weapons on that year's team, and they still got to the AFC Championship and lost to the Colts, and then that all leads to the next year when they load up with Randy Moss and Julian Edelman and became the FU Patriots. There was some kind of interesting parallels there. The Chiefs have gone at least one step further than they did, so I don't know if it's a full recoup like that. But you have to think that the Chiefs are going to, reload at receiver and try to get back to the dynamic offense that they once were.
I think they will, and I think it's a good year to need a receiver in the draft. So I think some good things are going to happen there. Matt K asks if Travis is going to propose to Taylor after the game. Yes or no?
I think Taylor is going to propose to Travis.
Just jet lagged from flying in from Tokyo. She's just going to get down on one knee.
A very progressive engagement.
I don't think it's happening.
No, there's no
count me out.
I felt like I was original having that thought. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to work down the pod. But I've seen it like 100 times, obviously.
Oh, that's wonderful. There's no chance that either of them are proposing to either of them. They can't. You can't propose to Taylor Swift in Allegiant Stadium.
Like the biggest pop culture moment. Like I don't even know what it would compare to. Like.
Yeah, I just have a feeling Travis is gonna like recreate the Christmas tree farm that Taylor grew up in and just like propose there somehow, and it's not gonna be there. I've already thought about Travis's proposal.
I've already been looking at prop bets on like where their wedding is at, where their honeymoon is at. Like the Taylor Swift props are out of control.
Let's go. I need to go find those. Those have got to be offshore.
Yeah,
way offshore.
You got to know a guy.
Yeah, much like where their wedding's going to be. Lindsay Lou, how many yards do you think Brock Purdy is going to throw for?
Brock Purdy is going to throw for 209 yards.
I was going to say 204.
Hater.
Yeah. I don't think
Brock Purdy gets some respect from you.
when he gets a ring. No rings. Joe Burrow, no rings. I don't think they're going to generate a big explosive in the passing game. So I just think the Chiefs are going to do a really good job of taking away the explosives there. And so
back to our conversation, do you think the Chiefs like keep a shell, like try to keep everything in front of them?
I think the Chiefs are going to put a lot of pressure on Brock. I think they're going to heat him up and he's going to make some mistakes. And so like when he's getting the ball out, good for him. Congratulations, all that stuff. They're going to sell they're going to sell it to stop the run. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to run blitz a little bit. And sometimes those run blitzes are going to turn into their athletic linebackers making plays around it. Right. So, hey, out of play action, working back to the quarterback. So Willie Gay running, as part of or Leo, run blitzing and, the end pops free and he's in the face of Brock. So like, I don't know. I think they're going to be able to get at Brock a little bit is what I'm saying. So I just don't think he's going to find any big opportunities down the field.
I also kind of feel like, more yards means almost something bad for the 49ers. Like, I think the way for them to win this game is like the offenses that have had success against the Chiefs move it like small chunk at a time and like work it down the field, make it a possession game. Like the Packers just slowly going on the field 5 yards at a time and not chunk plays at a time. So that would be like a lot of running and less possessions in a game, which leads to fewer yards, obviously.
Which, if the Niners want to try to play that game, by all means, because they haven't played that kind of game the first two times. The first two playoff games this year, and the Chiefs have. So if you want to try to make this a rock fight, let's make it a rock fight. Like, I'm all the way in on that.
Yeah, and I don't think it's their strength because, their defense isn't as good, especially down the stretch here. And they do seem like more of like a chunk play offense,
yes.
Kind of like Miami, which I think the Chiefs are more built to stop because then you get into, it's not instead of like 3rd and 3s because you're, moving a little bit at a time, you're getting like 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 10s. Yep. And that's when Spags has his sights on you.
Yep.
So I feel like those types of teams have kind of struggled more against the Chiefs than like a team even the Raiders had some success, moving it a little bit at a time, like 4-yard Josh Jacobs run. That's what you want. And just slowly move down the field like that and get to those 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 3s.
Yep. That's 21 questions. Thank you all so much for asking questions. We really appreciate you.
Can I ask a bonus question?
Sure.
20-second question.
Yeah.
Who does L'Jarius Sneed chase? Does he chase Ayuk or does he chase Deebo Samuel?
I think we had that actually, and I might have skipped it on accident.
That was I thought.
Well, someone else asked it.
Kent is pretty 69.
Oh, that was okay. That was you. Yeah, it wasn't Zach Bolton. I think it's a great question. I think he follows Deebo because they can get him more active and involved in the manufactured stuff. They can have him closer to the football. If you put him on Ayuk, you're removing him from some of the stuff around the line of scrimmage. And I think Deebo will ultimately get. So I wonder if they do
like a lot, doesn't he?
I wonder if they, and like I wonder if, but they also try to get him. There's so many ways they try to get him the football. So I just wonder if they want him around the ball, right? They want Steen around the ball, and then they maybe put like they double Ayuk kind of thing, something like that in the traditional drop back stuff. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Because it's usually like a clear receiver one, and I don't know who you would say to like Ayuk's more of a traditional receiver, obviously. But
Ayuk had 1,400 yards receiving this year.
He's really he's
really good.
Yeah. But Deebo's kind of scarier because
he does a lot of different stuff.
That dude, and if he gets going, it's like he's kind of like the engine of the Chief, like the 49ers offense, like when he went out against Packers, like they really struggled.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of he sets the tone, just the physical, breaking tackles and stuff like that. So I could see wanting Steed guy because he's such a good tackler. So chasing Deebo around and just hoping he can keep up with them and get him down, first man down. But it is an interesting debate because it seems like every single game he's following the number one receiver, and I just don't know who it is on their team.
Yeah. And I wonder, what do you do with Trent? There's a lot of layers to that, and I'm sure they'll mix some stuff up too. I don't know. I can't wait to see what Spags is up to. I feel good about all of this. I feel really good about all this game. I feel good about hanging out with my buddy, his Dirkness. Dirk, buddy, great talking to you, especially this week, obviously with the Super Bowl coming up. So thanks for joining us, man.
For sure.
21 questions. We appreciate y'all. We love you. We'll catch you later.